Hello, and welcome to From a Head Teacher's Perspective with me, Paul Urry. In this podcast, I'd like to talk about teaching with purpose, how schools can change lives and communities. I've taught and led schools across East London, Manchester, Bolton and Bradford, places where education isn't just about exam results, but about purpose, hope and possibility. These are communities where a vocational and morally driven approach to teaching matters deeply. I come from a family with no formal qualifications, but who gave me something even more powerful, a belief in the value of education. Their support lit the fire that guided my career, and it's why I believe schools can and should be agents of real social change. And that, right there, is the heart of what I'd like to talk about today. We've heard all about it. Education is the great equaliser. But is it? Is it really? If some children arrive at school hungry, tired or unheard, if the parents are working 3 jobs or none, and there's no money for books, clubs or even breakfast, if they've never been read a bedtime story. Education has the potential to be the great equaliser, but only if we make it so. Only if we stop thinking about schools as islands and start seeing them as part of a web of people and agencies pulling in the same direction towards the best possible future for every child. Let's be honest. Schools can't fix poverty, housing, or systemic inequality. But schools can do something pretty extraordinary. They can interrupt the cycle. They can give a child tools, experiences and confidence that might not exist elsewhere in their life. That's not just teaching, that's transformation. So how do we do it? We innovate, we partner, we get bold, and we start by asking one simple but radical question. What if our education system was truly designed for social change? What if school was the place where every child had access to rich, diverse literature that reflected both their lives and the world beyond? Teachers were trained not just in subjects, but in trauma-informed practice, cultural competency, and the science of learning. Partnerships with local libraries, youth services, mental health teams and arts organisations were baked into school life, not an optional extra. What if the end of year data wasn't just about SATs or GCSEs, but about joy, curiosity, resilience and agency? Let's pause on this for one moment. One of the most revolutionary things we can do in schools, and I say this as someone who's trialled countless shiny initiatives, is to build a culture of reading for pleasure. Not for phonics checks, not for comprehension scores, but for joy. Why? Because children who read for pleasure are more likely to do well academically and socially. Because it builds empathy, vocabulary, concentration, imagination, because it's a free passport to 1,000 lives beyond their own. And because, frankly, it's one of the most powerful tools we have to narrow the socio-economic gap. If a child has never been to a museum, they can still visit 100 through a book. If they've never met a scientist or explorer or refugee or rebel, they can meet one by turning a page. But to build that kind of culture, it takes time, commitment, and yes, innovation. It means letting children choose their books. It means making space in the day for story. It means staff who model a love of reading, not just a love of teaching it. It's not flashy, but it is world changing. The kind of leadership we need in education isn't just managerial, it's moral, it's community rooted, child focused, and unapologetically ambitious for every learner. I've learned this the long way. It's not just about being the loudest voice in the room or the sharpest suit. It's about being the person who keeps asking, is this good enough for every child? Not just the confident ones, not just the ones already caught up, all of them. Great school leaders build bridges. They look out as much as they look in. They form partnerships with charities, health workers, businesses, theatre groups, police officers, anyone who shares the mission of giving children the best shot at life. Because the truth is, no head teacher, however brilliant, can do this alone. If we want schools to be agents of change, we have to ditch the lone hero myth. I've seen schools transformed through partnerships. A school where a local food bank ran a weekend club and children came in on Monday ready to learn. A school where the local theatre ran confidence-building drama sessions with year sixes at the risk of exclusion. A school where a partnership with a local GP surgery led to a drop in mental health support for parents and children. None of this makes the headlines, but this is the work. It's messy, human, and full of heart. Now, none of this is easy, and I don't want to pretend it is. Budgets are tight, staff are tired. The system groans under the weight of paperwork, accountability, and politics. But this is what keeps me going. Every time a child reads their first whole book. Every time a parent says, I didn't think my child could do that. Every time a teacher dares to teach beyond the test. Every time we choose connections over compliance. I want this space to be more than just my thoughts. I want it to be a place where we think, question, and imagine together. So I'm asking you, what does your school do to support children beyond the curriculum? Where have you seen innovation that truly changes lives? How can schools and other agencies work better together where you are? What one thing would you change in the system if you had the power? Together, we can make schools more than places of learning. We can make them places of hope. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please do comment, share, and subscribe to keep this important national debate going. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.